Nice. Welcome back mpenzi mtazamaji, tunazidi kuendelea kuweza kupata hadithi ya my brother hapa, ambayo tumekuhakikisha kwamba ni hadithi ambayo kikweli inakuhusu wewe, kwa sababu kwa wakati mmoja au mwingine uliwahi kuathirika kwa madawa ya kulevya, au wewe ni mzazi ambaye una mtoto ambaye aliwahi kuathirika, au bado, manake wanasema kwamba lisemwalo lipo kama halipo laja. Kwa hivyo tunafaa sote tupate kutahadhari kabla ya hatari, kama Waswahili wanavyosema. Now my brother, tunaingia katika chuo kikuu kama wengi wanavyoingia pale. Kama tulivyosema hapo nyuma kwamba unaingia ukiwa na mahanja furaha. Unaingia pale ukijua kwamba now this one I'm going to fulfill my dreams.
Yes.
Now tell us how you are now admitted in the university. Well, you are getting there.
Okay, and before we continue, I actually want to say that it's very true. When you get to Kingia campus, you're very passionate about something.
Yeah.
And when you're passionate about something, there's always setbacks and drawbacks to your life. So when I joined campus, I was actually a young boy, a good boy, and I had actually reformed. Now, clearing Form 4, I joined campus, never used again, because now I had made a decision that I wanted to move on. But now I found a different culture and a different group of people who were never actually appreciative of the good boy culture. So the good boy culture is a culture that I wish
kijana kakokapole, hakana maneno, kanaka innocent, kanaka kienyeji, siku hizo wanawaita
kienyeji. And self-esteem actually was one big reason as to why I joined. Low self-esteem. And I wanted to be with the big boys right now to grow my self-esteem.
Yes.
So I didn't get it in out of without proper knowledge as to know that sometimes it takes time to actually get somewhere. So low self-esteem drove me to the desire to have to join the bad boy crew. So joining the bad boy crew, being that toxic masculine,
and you're proud of it by that.
You had to be proud of it because you got favors and you got fame. No, at that particular time as a young person, that is what you get your energy from. And
you, by the way, you have to sacrifice a lot of time, a lot of money to finance,
and then you see at some point in life you start becoming a truant. Because the school life is actually the normal school life is not what you actually used to.
Now, when you are firstly being introduced to the drug abuse, maybe now in campus, because by that time you are big, you know whatever it's supposed to be done. Now, at the beginning, were you given for free or you buy?
At the beginning, as I've told you, parties were many. So most of the time, it actually starts simple. Because your new groups of friends are actually people who hang. The big boy crews are people who hang around, events. You hear of different events. One time you're in Naivasha, the next you're in Machakos. You're going for, big parties.
And how is how it's expensive? How do you finance it?
Well, as a young person, there are many things that you can do. You get cheap labor, sometimes. Then sometimes as a truant, as a truant, the finances that you're supposed to put into your education.
Maybe something serious.
To buy course books. And you know how campus course books are expensive. So like a particular book is 2,500. I tell you that 2,500 would get you a drug that can even get you for an entire week.
Can sustain you in an entire week, span of 1 week.
1 week.
Now you prioritize that. You say, watch I can.
Imagine if you're 4 guys, that's 10,000.
Yes.
That's 10,000. 10,000 you have alcohol, and so as I grew into campus, now I graduated from marijuana. Now I went to alcohol.
Now you use both.
And cigarettes and hookah they call it shisha nowadays. Sometimes you use pills. Nowadays there's also codeine. This mixing this syrup with sodas. So
did you also introduce people to this now? Because we have already introduced. You are in it. Did you also look for other members to join the crew?
I actually most of the time I never found anybody to introduce because the team that I used to join were people who were already
in it.
So me, I was a newbie. So as a newbie, all I wanted to know was also be a greater person.
Now, when you have joined the big crew, of course, you have power.
You have power.
You have strength. You have a say.
You have a say.
Now, after that, you are looking for ladies to chill up with.
I'd tell you that okay, that lifestyle is actually addictive at some point because I don't know how the life is actually engineered, but it just attracts people. It attracts people, and it's because of lack of knowledge. So you form a form of a community. That's why you see that even when somebody is actually recovering as a drug addict, most of the time you hear that he doesn't have friends because some of their friends are actually okay with doing it. So what happened while I was in campus, joining such drugs, the people who I couldn't balance the two lives. So friends who I couldn't balance education, and I couldn't balance I couldn't balance the education part and doing drugs. I had to choose one.
At any point did you maybe get yourself in illegal acts?
I was actually arrested once. I was arrested once, and I was lucky enough. We were not in possession. We were not in possession because it was drunk driving and noise pollution, basically that. So we were very lucky, and that is when I started seeing the worst of it. I had lost educated friends because now educated friends were graduating. Some of my friends, actually, one of them was actually admitted because of mental issues. Another one is actually depressed. And
no, that is now the drug has already affected the health.
Affected mentally. And another one was now the way I used to see him, because when we were joining, actually me and them were very best friends. So he was very educated and very talented, and his talent, I actually sat down now after being arrested for mostly arrest. We got arrested. We had many police. Okay, when you're in that lifestyle, you're going to brush shoulders with communities and authorities. So I sat down and recollected myself. And when I sat down, that is when I saw the destruction it had done to my circle of friends.
By that time, you also remember, you can't forget that back to your home, they are Christians.
They are Christians.
They are against that culture.
And now you're, let alone stigmatization.
Did it happen to sometimes that maybe when the schools were closed, you go back to your places maybe?
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. We, even for reunions, family reunions.
Yeah, how long was it taking?
For us to go for family reunions?
Yes.
Well, actually, months or weeks, because we live in a setting where you can visit your aunties or uncles any time of the day.
Yes.
But now you're not welcomed in homes.
By the way, before you went to university, you had some sort of rehabilitated.
I was rehabilitated, exactly.
But now you are here again. Did they come to understand that again our boy is already in the mess?
And that is where I got to understand that sometimes it's choice. it's the decisions that we make that lead us to the point where families also get tired, because somebody will help you once, twice, thrice, but when you have made the choice, there's nothing else they can do.
What was their big regret?
My biggest regret is, you know, you cannot always think right most of the time. Yes, you can never think right, and you're also depressed most of the time. You actually develop conditions in life. You develop conditions in life where you also have to actually depend on a certain type of routine for yourself, because drug addiction is something that once you put your mind into something, then you take it away. It's just like a child, the way you give it something and you snatch it away. You also behind at some point in life, so you have to try to catch up with things. So you find that life becomes I wouldn't say tough, but it becomes a challenge each and every day, because you want to catch up with things. You know, you have to connect small dots so that you can have a complete set. You know, you have to also make people understand that as much as it was decisions, you know, you also have made a decision to change. You know, the changing part is one of the toughest point in life for actually people to understand that you've actually made a different turn. But I've had supportive people. I wouldn't say that it's actually been that tough. I've had my auntie, I'd actually love to mention her name. She's called Judith Adhiambo, and my uncle called Evans, Ouma. Then I'd have my auntie also called Karen Awili, Karen is my mom, Awili, sorry. Then there's Karen Muga, my auntie, very supportive group. My brothers and siblings have really been supportive, and groups of friends. Because when I decided to change, the groups that I had left back came and told me then, if the decision is to make a different turn, then the support is there.
If now you have decided that nimechoka na hii maisha.
Nimechoka na hii maisha.
You have gone through a lot. Now you are saying no, the only way is to come back. Now by that time, were you born again? Sorry to ask.
Well,
while you are using the drugs.
I wouldn't say somebody who joins drug addiction is somebody who is born again. Because if you're in God's path, He can never mislead you. So I wasn't born again.
Do you think that it's difficult to explain to people that you are born again while you are still using drugs? Maybe, as per you, your own mind. What can you say about that?
Drug addiction and
a relation between Christianity and somebody who is under influence of drugs.
They can never be in the same pot. Yeah, they can never be in the same pot. And that's a pot that can't be stirred. You know,
you have to select one.
Yeah, you can't have your cake and still eat it too. You know, your story has to have a path. You know, has to have a direction. You know, and there's one thing that I've also actually learned in life, that there are two different colors that people say. There's black and there's white. You know, and you have to choose one. When you're in drug abuse, you've decided to,
because now the group that you are in is so toxic. It's so unloving. But now the other group, when you say that maybe your life is in Christ, you try to be decent. You try to be, maybe in terms of maybe how you are wearing, how you are putting on your clothes, were you caring, or you are just let it be?
And that is what I was actually, that is what I'm saying, that in drug addiction you have no control. You have no control of your dressing. You have no control of the way you think. You have no control.
You talk.
Your plan of life.
You just spit anything.
You just spit anything. So I'd say that dressing was
By choice.
Not by choice. Influence.
You have to embrace the group.
You have to embrace the group, and you have to match up to some sort of, you know, in drug abuse there's influence. You have to match up to some form of culture, some form of community, in some form of setting. You have to fit in. You know, it's not like people don't understand you while you're in drug abuse. So you have to actually show people that you are okay. Now you know there's a challenge in it. Yeah, there's a challenge.
You are wrong, but you always embrace them. You tell them that we are okay. Na mpenzi mtazamaji, tunazidi kupata masuala mazuri kutoka kwa my brother hapa, na tunaporudi tu kwako, labda utueleze tu labda uliweza kujipata kwamba unaona kwamba the drug abuse ni mbaya, kwa sababu mwanzo ukitumia uliona it's something good. Yeah, it was something that you embraced with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your strength. Now you are seeing it as it's not good. How did you get out of it?
It was tough. It was very tough. It was very tough. It was very tough. I would say that one of the biggest challenges is actually making a shift. Whichever thing that you're doing, it's making a shift. And like you've asked, how did I get to
Out of it?
Out of it. It was by the grace of God, first of all, and a supportive family, like I've said before. So the grace of God, I actually met a really supportive group of friends. While I had nowhere to go now, because okay, my education was now, I actually had stopped school. I actually had dropped out from university.
You dropped out of university?
I dropped out from university. I tried.
Which year?
That was in third year. I had actually decided to drop out.
You decided ukasema kwamba you fall acha ikae.
I'm telling you, now I was actually not seeing the importance of school. But now the supportive, actually school was now supportive as well. Because when I went back, it was accommodating and support. I had a dean who actually helped me through and guided me through, because I went for advice and counseling as well. So the grace of God and my family, my father was really supportive through it. Julius Onyango was really supportive. My grandmother was actually the one who, may God rest her soul. My grandmother really was the one who gave me the advice that I really needed, and Judy as well. And also I saw young guys grow themselves. I saw young people actually achieve
Making
more.
life.
Yeah, and it actually shifted my perception about life. And that is what I would say, that the grace of God guided me out of drug addiction.
Wow, grace of God guided Mr. Muga out of drug influence. Na kikweli hata wewe today, when you believe that the grace of God is going to get you out of that influence, indeed is going to happen. Okay, now a young generation is there. There is a father there.
There's a father there.
There's a mother there. Maybe before we get to the young generation, there's this family part of it.
Yeah.
What advice can you give the family part of it who has a member that is under influence?
And I would like to tell that there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Don't cancel out anybody for the part where there is a fallback and there's a drawback in their life. And support is what most of drug addicts want. And the decision is actually hard to make, but once there's a shift and there's a spark of shift, just continue blowing the flame and there's going to be change.
There's that person who is under influence. We also have another person who is not under influence but is willing to get into. What can you tell those two people?
Okay, I'll start with the person who is under influence. The other side is might be good right now, but let me tell you, this other side is even much better. And don't worry about the damage that has already been done. Think about your future and what advantage you are going to get out of a sober life. Because from personal experience, 10 years of drug addiction cannot equal an year of sobriety. That is one great advice I'd tell them. And anybody who wants to get into drug addiction, just be patient with your life, because in whatever thing that you think drugs are going to give you, it's a lie. It's a lie, and focus in whatever you want to get. Priorities have to be right, and your passion will always get you to the other side, which is success at the end of the day. Still on how I dropped like drugs, it was a point in life when thoughts were not, I couldn't process my thoughts rightfully, and I could not manage a daily life simply. That was depression and emotional instability, and basically life in general was tough. So I had to go to my father and tell him that right now I want to take a turn. And as much as it was a humbling situation, I had to put my pride down, because I wasn't getting anywhere financially or passionately where I wanted to be in life. I saw that distance wasn't somewhere that I was close to. So I had to recollect myself, but my family had to sit me down first of all. So my younger brothers, I really thank Edmund Odhiambo, and my eldest brother Eugene Muga, and my sister Eileen Atieno, she follows me as a third born, and the siblings in general. They sat me down, and the remorse that and the sympathy that they showed me actually helped me to actually come into terms with the fact that as much as the pride of a know-it-all mentality, that at some times we fall, and that is how I got to accept that I needed professional help. So my dad organized for me to get into rehabilitation, and I was actually admitted for rehab, and ever since I've been sober. And life has been quite good. I've actually managed to graduate as well. And right now I'm into different things. I'm doing software engineering, my passion, graphic design, what I've always wanted to do. And looking back, I really thank God that decision to sit down with my siblings and parents and family at large, to go back to the life that I've always wanted, has actually cancelled out the regret that I've always had, which was actually damaging my future.
We are about to end to get the end of our show, that we are now about to ask our brother to at least now talk to you, a young generation that you are there. Even if you are not young, but you are under influence, my brother here is about to give you something that I know probably is going to make you step back to that harmful substance that probably you are using.
Getting back to the society was not really tough as much, because the first decision to change, because the first decision to go for rehab was the first positive step to life. So I've been through different forums, I've gone through careers, and I've seen young people grow. So I've gone back to church, and being in a youth setting, support and reading the Bible as well. Bible study has really helped me so much. I have friends where they bring me into their activities most of the time, podcasts and video events. So being in a group where you can be instilled new things and new positive activities has really brought up my ability to actually interact with better people and be accepted in the society. So what I'd like to tell any kid who is either into drugs or thinking about drugs is, first of all, think twice about that drug that one day will be in your possession. We never expect it. It comes by surprise. So that particular day whatever you have been taught in school or in church, be ready to apply it. That day when you find yourself in such a situation, be ready to say no and let your no be a no.
Mr. Muga, once again, I say thank you so much for sharing with us let's say the worst part of your life, but at least it has brought a light to that young generation that is in our channel today watching this. Thank you so much, and may you continue in a right path, because they say there's always sometimes somebody can come to you and tell you, yeah, you were out of it, but now come back, we still need you.
Yeah.
Never give it a yes. Never give it a yes, because it's probably going to harm you completely.
Completely, yeah.
Kwako mpenzi mtazamaji, tunasema asante sana kwa kuweza kutenga muda kwamba unatutizama kwa wakati huu. Haswa tunasema kwamba ni asante zaidi na zaidi kwako wewe. Hatuchukulii kawaida kwamba unachukua muda wako kuweza kututizama, na pia tunasema ni asante zaidi, asante za dhati kabisa kwa Samaritan Cafe kuweza kutupa nafasi kuweza kuleta kipindi hiki. Tufuatilie katika mitandao ya kijamii. Kumbuka kwamba ni Joy and Hope Media Group, na unaweza kutupata katika mitandao wa Facebook, wanasema Facebook page. Ukurasa wetu wa Facebook ni Joy and Hope TV. Ukiingia pale kwenye YouTube ni Joy and Hope TV. Kumbuka kuwa pia unaweza kutupata pale kwenye TikTok, Joy and Hope Online Radio Stroke TV. Fuatilia vipindi vya kwetu na mambo yetu yote yatakuwa sawa sawa. Nimekuwa wako presenter Mike, hadi wakati mwingine panapo majaliwa ya kirabuka. Kwaheri.